on
Oh,
YouTube over there.
oh.
Um, but here's the thing: is what did Trump do? When we go back to Q, right? And we've talked, we've covered this, a few times on the different shows, Death Con and all that. When people say trust the plan, me and you right away tell people, if you're going to shit on it, tell me what it is, and if you're going to support it,
Right.
tell me what it is, and if you can't do either, why is it coming out of your mouth? But when we go to one of the early phases of this plan for Q, what did Trump have to do before it can even before it could come alive? He had to delegitimize what everybody recognized as the authority, mainstream media, Mockingbird media. And so he went out there, fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, right? And he started to delegitimize it. It wasn't just trolling, but a lot of people thought it was. No, there was a psychological maneuver to what he was doing. And that opened the door, that created this vacuum that spawned a whole new media, alt media, citizen journalists, digital soldiers, Anon, and ultimately the Q community, the boards. But if you guys go back, and I wasn't there at the inception, but I've talked to a lot of people that were there, people didn't agree on interpretations of all the posts. And people argued about that. That's good. Like, that's the way it should be. If somebody has a perspective or a position or a theory and it challenges you, then all you got to do is say, well, you're wrong because of this. Here's my facts. Here's my information. Here's where I derive all this from. And then you at that point are put in a position, okay, well, here's how I feel. And then it becomes fact versus fact. And either ultimately you find out, all right, maybe we're closer to being the same than we weren't, or no, yours weren't actually facts, those were opinions. But you don't come to that unless you're challenged. And I feel like a lot of people out there don't want to be challenged. And I'm quite shocked at that. There's another, another concept of, I support President Trump. Not only do I support President Trump, if he called me up to be one of his Secret Service agents, I would do that. And if I had to jump in front of something to protect that man, I would do that. Like, that's how much I love and respect that man. But I don't agree with all his positions. And for everybody that says you gotta agree with Trump on everything, I'm gonna remind everybody, did y'all agree with him when he was telling you that the jab was the greatest thing of ever? Because I was like, hell no. That is retarded. Hell no.
Well, and to that point, listen, if we all had to agree on everything of what Trump says or what Q said, then we're no different than China. And we shouldn't conform to things because they make us feel good. It's part of a synthetic ideology that has been created over the last 50 years. And that comes about through social engineering. In school, elementary school, grade school, we're taught to conform to the status quo, to the norm. And see, that's just not how we are or who we are. And, as people, we got to relearn how to be human beings, how to question authority, how to question the narrative of what is transpiring. And like when Donald Trump puts posts like this out about Mark Levin, number one is the first thing I think is Trump didn't write that. He's like, Mark, okay, you just made $100,000 donation to the Donald Trump PAC. Here you go. Here's my phone. Write anything you want. I think that's more or less what happened. Or you get one of the, the dude that we're always talking about who runs the communications on True Social for Donald Trump. He gets his phone and he's writing that, right? Because they want to promote Mark Levin's new book that's probably coming out, and Mark Levin's going to guarantee 5% revenue profits to the PAC or something like it. Like, understand that these things are probably most likely business. Now, does Donald Trump like Mark Levin? I think he does. I think that they're probably really good friends. Do I like Mark Levin? No, could give two shits about the guy. I think he's pro-Israel first, and I think he's a piece of garbage. That's my opinion. But when Trump says that, hey, if you don't like Mark Levin, you're not MAGA, I disagree with you, Trump. You don't determine what's MAGA. You're the leader of MAGA. We are MAGA. And I love Donald Trump. I would absolutely support that man in just about everything that he does, but I don't always have to agree with him. And I think that that's one of the things that he's trying to show us is that, hey, I'm coming out here and I'm going after the people. that don't like Mark Levin. And I'm saying, hey, you're not MAGA. And guess what? People said, well, you know what? I still am MAGA. I'm America first. I love this country. I love you, President Trump. I support what you're doing with Iran. But I think Mark Levin's garbage. I can have that opinion. And really, if you guys didn't know, that post that he put out there, that's towards Tucker Carlson and all these people going after the whole Iran narrative. And that's really what this is about. And it's actually a two-part. So there's actually, what's his name? Matt De La Soul or whatever his name is. I think he just won the Congress a few days ago or a few weeks ago. He put out something that we have a podcast problem in the right. And I think that this is what Trump is trying to talk about.
That was crazy, by the way. I saw that.
Yeah, and I disagree with Matt a lot on what he wrote. And the reason I disagree with it is because what Matt's talking about, he's talking about the top 1% of podcasters out there. And see, there's a difference between those podcasters and people like us. Those podcasters are bought and paid for. They work for some media conglomerate that you've never heard of, and they have influence money flowing in from foreign corporations, domestic corporations, from big billionaires and so forth that are funding their narrative. And that's bullshit. And I agree that we must stop that, those ones out there doing it. But Donald Trump also put out another post. It's a very lengthy and long one, but it kind of correlates to the context of what he's talking about with the Mark Levin post and what Matt is actually talking about. Did you see this one?
I did.
Okay, it's a book. Iran has long been known as the master of media manipulation and public relations. They are militarily ineffective and weak, but are really good at feeding the very appreciative fake news media false information. Now, AI has become another disinformation weapon that Iran uses quite well, considering they are being annihilated by the day. They showed phony kamikaze boats shooting the various ships at sea, which looks wonderful, powerful, vicious, but these boats don't exist. It's all false information to show you tough they are already defeated militarily is. The 5 U.S. refueling planes that were supposedly struck down and badly damaged, according to the Wall Street Journal's false reporting and others, are all in service with the exception of one, which will soon be flying the skies. Buildings and ships that are showing to be on fire are not. It's fake news generated by AI. For instance, Iran, working in close coordination with the fake news media, shows the great USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, one of the largest and most prestigious ships in the world, burning uncontrollably in the ocean. Not only was it not burning, it was not even shot at. Iran knows better than to do that. The story was unknowingly fake, and in a certain way, you can say that those media outlets that generated it should be brought up on charges of treason for the dissemination of false information. The fact is, Iran is being decimated, and the only battles they win are those that they create through AI and are distributed by corrupt media outlets. The radical left-wing press knows this full well, but continues to go forward with false stories and lies. That's why their approval rating is so low, and I can win a presidential election in a landslide, getting only 5% positive press. They have no credibility. I'm thrilled to see Brennan Carr, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, looking at the licenses of some of these corrupt and highly unpatriotic news organizations. They get billions of dollars of free American airwaves and use it to perpetuate lies, both in news and almost all of the shows, including the late night morons who get gigantic salaries for horrible ratings and never get, as I used to say, The Apprentice fired. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. And I said, Smith-Mundt Act. 1948, the law allowed the U.S. government to conduct information campaigns abroad to encounter Soviet propaganda, but it banned those materials from being distributed inside the United States. 2012, Congress passed the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which removed that restriction. That means the government-produced foreign messaging can now legally circulate inside the U.S. And some said this was simply modernizing the law for the internet age. Many of us are saying it without remove the firewall between foreign propaganda operations and domestic audiences. What is Trump hinting? The Smith-Mundt era assumption that the U.S. public is separate from the global information battlefield is collapsing. Now, it's a little bit different than the Smith-Mundt. Obviously, that's government propaganda against you, but you do have intelligence agencies that are operating in the United States of America, controlling our media information with that. What does this do? It basically states that the media cannot utilize propaganda and call it legitimate or real. And this is why it gets so important. Because number one, there's a lot of people on the right wing in podcasts that are pushing some bullshit information. Like, look, and some of these guys are my friends. I've been on their shows. They're friends. The ones that are telling you that hundreds, if not thousands of Americans have died, That's nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one is that every soldier, sailor, airman, and guardian that dies in battle or dies in active service, their parents or next of kin are immediately notified. Typically, when you have large casualties that are sustained within a combat situation, they're always from the same battalion. They're always from the same group, which means that at one base, dozens of people are getting notified at the same time. And when you see that only 4 or 5 people have been killed, I think we're up to 8. 8 Americans have been killed, and they see that on the news, and they're like, well, there's 12 of us here that just lost, our husbands. That's bullshit. They take to the airwaves, they take to the news, and they will call that bullshit out. It's also public information. And so it's really difficult to cover up the deaths. Now, it's not difficult when you have a lot of deaths to add or lessen that number, kind of what was happening in Ukraine and Russia. Another one, Bibi is dead. Bibi is dead. Listen, guys, we're not that lucky, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu is not dead. Why? We're not that lucky. God loves us, but he still has a sense of humor.
He's got 6 fingers.
Listen, people are like, but 6 fingers. Yeah, it's probably an AI-generated video. And the video that came out today, probably an AI-generated video. I'm telling you, he's not dead. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're not that lucky. Not only that, is if he was, let me kind of give you an idea. If Iran struck Israel and took out Benjamin Netanyahu, number one, the Knesset, they are far more radical than Benjamin Netanyahu, I assure you. Next, he would become a martyr, and they would be dropping tactical nukes all throughout Iran right now in holy vengeance. I assure you. Now, do I hope that news was true? I think we all did. I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu as much as I like freaking Susie Wiles.
You know who won that battle about Benjamin Netanyahu's dead? The person that won that battle was Mossad.
The Mossad?
Because
we didn't even have to do it.
There were the ones that went and probably put that information out there to get Candace Owens and Ian Carrolls and all these people to run with it and then discredit themselves. And agree. If that was the case, you would see this entire globalist plan falling apart.
Well, I will say one thing on Candace and them. They discredited themselves this last weekend with that fake Eric
that audio.
Kirk. Oh, yeah. That was. And people are like, why are you guys being so mean to Ian? Because he fucked up. Discernment. Like, people who have large audiences, you have to use discernment. You got to be like, I should share it, but I'm not going to.
Hold on. I think discernment is, I'm going to disagree with this one. I agree with you, what you're saying, discernment. I'm not giving him that excuse because he's been in the game long enough to know. And if you go all the way back to last year, what did him and Candace say about RFK? He's cooked. He's been blackmailed. We're talking to people. We're going to release the blackmail on him. This is why he's doing all this stuff. And we're like, dude, why are you going after the guy that's trying to make us healthy and save our kids from dyes and cereals? And what happened? It never came. And the difference now is people weren't calling them out on it. And this time you had some decent names and size accounts that said, all right, enough's enough. And people called them out on it. And, I'd say a lot of people fell for it through discernment issues. I'm not giving Ian that pass. He knows better. He knows exactly what he did.
No,
especially because he got tagged early on saying, bro, that's a completely different file. And here's the other thing that's out. And I know people the word grifter gets overused to the point where it doesn't really have the impact that it does. But why do you have, what's the other one? Project Constitution. He went out and put, hey, I was wrong, and he corrected it, but you still leave it up? Because, well, I got 10 million views, and that's going to be a nice X check. I hope these people get sued by Erica and TPUSA.
Well, I don't want to push it out loud, but there's only a certain number of foreign intelligence agencies that operate through proxy to influence influencers. And that one definitely wasn't Israel. It definitely wasn't the CIA. And so that leaves kind of only one. And just, align yourself with the propaganda that's coming out of a lot of those people. Not that I typically stay neutral on that conversation when it comes to Ian and Candace and all of these people. you get to see it after a while of standing back and just not commenting on it. You begin to see what's really going on, that someone is trying to control a narrative. Not only that, they're trying to inject false information into a narrative, not for grifting, not for likes, shares, and comments, but it goes back to the Alice in Wonderland effect on social media of psychological warfare manipulation. Is what
Well,
you do is you produce massive amounts of confusion and contradiction prior to injecting an anchor of truth that you want people to latch onto.
well, I was going to tell you, I want to go deep into that,
We get
but
to the end.
let's get to our ads. They're like, come on, man, we're gonna get to it. So first on deck, you guys have seen them. I don't know if we've had scales on after hours. I know DEFCON some other ones, but again, we're gonna go with scales first, people. The Scales Freedom Collection is where patriotism meets style and comfort, inspired by salt air, tight lines, and the stars and stripes. This collection celebrates the American spirit through the lens of those who love outdoor adventures. From long sleeve performance shirts built for the elements to buttersoft tees and hats with bold, ocean-inspired American prints, every piece is designed to keep you cool, protected, and proud to be American. Built for the elements, designed for freedom. Shop now at badlandsmedia.tv/scales and enter the code Badlands at checkout for 20% off your next purchase. And this one you guys will definitely recognize right here. And that is Patriot Protect, folks. We are in the middle of the worst stretch of data breaches this country has ever seen, and it's hitting right in the middle of tax season. In just the last 90 days, a government contractor that handles Medicaid benefits for 46 states got hacked. 25 million Americans had their social security numbers and medical records stolen. The Texas AG called it the largest breach in American history. Panera Bread, 5 million customers exposed. Under Armour, 72 million email addresses dumped online. All on top of a record of 3,300 data breaches in 2025 alone. Here's what you need to take care of right now. Criminals are using the stolen data to file tax returns in your name and take your refund. The IRS flagged 2 million returns for identity fraud last year. And if it happens to you, the average wait to get resolved is almost 2 years. And it's not just breaches. Right now, data brokers and people search sites are publishing your name, your home address, and your phone number, even your family members' names, all searchable by anyone online. Scammers don't need to hack you. They just look you up. Patriot Protect fixes that. Their search and destroy protocol scans Google and over 200 data broker sites, finds your personal information, and then removes it continuously. Most services tell you after your identity gets stolen. Patriot Protect removes the information criminals need to steal it in the first place. Because of what you see right now, Patriot Protect is offering you 15% off any plan. Use promo code Badlands at patriot-protect.com. That's patriot-protect.com/Q after hours. Your data is already out there. Take it back, and you will see those links to our partners, sponsors, and affiliates down in the link below. But to the Alice in Wonderland, did you want to keep adding to that? Because I liked where you were going with that.
No, it's just a tactic that is utilized on social media, and I've written about it extensively. But you have massive amounts of contradiction, massive amounts of confusion that are put out there, especially in times of heightened awareness. And what it does is it takes people's attentions in one direction and another. And when they see conflicting narratives, then what happens is you have anchors of truth that begin to come out. I don't find it a coincidence at all that the stuff about Bibi Netanyahu came out around the same time. And so think about that as emotionally backed reinforcement, that someone wanted to push the propaganda that Netanyahu was actually dead. And what they did is they produced this massive emotional roller coaster of Erica Kirk and the Epstein files connection. And then everybody's trailing on that. Then you find out that that's fake. You have confliction, confusion, and then boom, all of a sudden, Netanyahu, you got a new latch of truth that is showing AI video, all of this. And then people tend to believe it and propagate it. And this is, I'm not saying this is Russian propaganda or Iranian propaganda or even Mossad propaganda. I would say that it's probably British intelligence, because British intelligence has the largest to gain from propagating pro-Iranian propaganda and anti-U.S. sentiment and anti-Israeli sentiment. Because if you've been following our shows over the last 6 to 12 months, That's the old guard's intelligence agency. That's the deep state's intelligence agency right there. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of tactics that are used. The beautiful thing is that the majority of the people in the audience and you and me here, we can recognize it when it's happening. Ooh, that's a good one. Someone mentioned this. Have you seen this video about Scott Bessent?
No. Well, it depends. You gotta give me more than that. I've seen a few videos of them. If it's from today, I haven't seen it.
No, this is from Friday. So Scott Bessent was doing, the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent was doing an
Oh,
interview.
this is the one where we got, yes. Okay, bring this up. This is good.
Okay.
We haven't talked about this. I'm interested in having this conversation.
Okay, let's play the video and then let people kind of see what happened here.
I listened to you on the.
The president wants you. Sorry, the president wants you.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem at all. See you shortly, Mr. Secretary.
You can work that in.
Mr. Secretary, I have to say, it's a first, I'm sure a last as well, that an interviewee's been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How's the president? Was he stressed?
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And I have to tell you, Wolf, that I've a teenager who's considering military service. And I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
Okay. So he is obviously disturbed. Now, I do have one of the body language experts out there who breaks this down. We don't have to do the whole 8 minutes, but let's just do a minute or two of him breaking this down. This is Jesus Enrique Rosas. And listen to what he says here.
Scott Bessent's return from Trump's Situation Room is the perfect example of how even the most seasoned communicator gets betrayed by the one signal his discipline can't fully suppress. Watch.
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And
Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, macro investor, and one of the most composed communicators in Washington, was sitting down for a long-form interview on the Master Investor podcast with Wilfred Frost. He was relaxed, he was fluent, he was deep inside a conversation about Japanese economic policy when Trump called. Bessent left for the Situation Room. Over an hour later, he came back. You just watch his first moments on camera after that visit. And if you're wondering what exactly changed, most people have been looking in the wrong place entirely, because the answer is not in his face, that is not in his eyes. We're about to find out exactly where it is. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and today we are doing a full before and after on Scott Bessent. But before we analyze what changed, we need to establish who Bessent is as a communicator, because the contrast is everything here. Pay attention to his hands and the rhythm of his head.
great fellow Funabashi-san, Japanese journalist, thinker, policy person, called and said, there's this fellow called Abe. He had been the prime minister before.
Notice the physical fluency. This is not just verbal. His right hand is working constantly, drawing the meaning of his words in the air. We call these illustrator gestures. They're one of the clearest markers of genuine cognitive engagement. Not just reciting, but thinking out loud, with his body following every thought in real time. It's also nodding softly throughout. That continuous vertical head movement is an unconscious signal of internal conviction. His body is agreeing with its own output. Now watch the second clip.
Mm-hmm. He's going to come back. I think he could be the prime minister, and he's going to campaign on restoring the Japanese economy, economic strength, his national strength, and on a reflationary platform.
Same confidence, but now he subtly lifts his chin. That chin raise is a dominance display. It elongates the neck, expands the body's visual footprint, signals, I own this space. And that pinch gesture, index finger pressure to Trump, index finger pressed to thumb, that's a baton gesture. Batons land on the keyword like a conductor's downstroke, precision emphasis from a man in complete command of his delivery. This is his baseline. But here's where everything changes. There's no audio to analyze from the interruption itself, but the footage captures the exact moment Basant is pulled away, and someone approaches to deliver the news. Something crosses his face for less than a fraction of a second, a lip corner press on the right side, a micro expression of frustration. He doesn't yet know who is calling. Then he finds out it's Trump himself. His face immediately relaxes into a soft smile. He is cooperative. He leaves. He spends a little more than 1 hour in the Situation Room, and the man who comes back is not quite the man who left. Now, look at his hands as he answers the first question after he returns.
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule, and
his hands are completely still, pinned to his thighs. The same hands that were sculpting ideas in the air minutes ago are now nowhere. In body language, when a habitual gesturer suddenly stops gesturing, we call this a freeze response, a change of rhythm. The brain is under overwhelming load and begins eliminating non-essential outputs. And the first thing to go is gestures. His voice.
Well, you want to pause it right there real quick?
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say, because I disagree, and I like this guy, and he's pretty accurate, and he's done some good training. I've watched other things he's done, and he's pretty good at it. But this is what I'll say. When and this comes from, I also have formal training and advanced training when it comes to body language, because I was a detective, right? When an interview is broken up and you come and the person comes right back to it, there are choices you got to make. If you're looking for body language, you never jump in with an important question after the interruption of an interview in any scenario, because the body has to redevelop its baseline again from anything, even a restroom break. You know what I mean? Hey, I got to take a call, whether they broke it or you broke it. You always have to give time to reestablish that baseline, because what he could be interpreting as in he's thinking about Trump, Scott can be thinking, what was the last thing we were talking about? Because I want to make sure that my comments are consistent with what I said last time in this conversation. He could still be planning, hey, the president tasked me with this. I need to get this done. Like, there's a lot. And you have to take into consideration when you're doing behavior analysis training or, practical application is, let me redevelop this baseline. And the interviewer, obviously, this is not his intention. Like, he wants, it's curiosity, right? Hey, what was that with the president? He responded like normal. That wasn't a setup. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying for us, you have to look at him anywhere from the next 3 to 6 minutes, and you just got to break it out. Hey, you good? The break. We'll get back into this. We're kind of talking about this, and that allows the person to get back into that comfort zone. Then you can manage, because it only takes everybody anywhere from, like I said, 3 to 6 minutes to get back into that. So I hear what he's saying. And it's not wrong. Like this thing, pinpointing, think of it like as, when we see video shorts and there's a word that's highlighted, when someone does this is pinpointing that word. It's putting, so he's not
accent on a word.
So that's what I want to say. He's not wrong about what he's recognizing. I disagree with him on making that assessment, knowing that this was a response right when he got back. And like I said, he could be right. However, I would never base body language off someone coming right back to an interview.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, number one is he wasn't actually, I want to kind of preface this. He comes back, he sits down. What we're seeing in that interview is just when the cameras were turned on. It's not necessarily right when he got back. So it's not that he ran in the room, sat down, it's like, oh, okay, let's get back into it. There was an interplay, I believe, before all this. I'm assuming because this is a professional podcast. Do you want me? Let's just do the teenage son part of how he breaks this part down, because I think that this is interesting.
Oh no, I'm enjoying it. I want to keep watching.
As he delivers the line about the Iranian mission, the words say calm and in control. Well, the delivery says something else. But the moment that tells us everything comes next.
I have to tell you, Wolf, that I'm a teenager who's considering military service.
He stumbles on teenager, not on a policy term, not on a foreign name. No, the word teenager, a word that he has said thousands of times in his life. And that is precisely the point. Stress-induced disfluency doesn't attack your hardest words. It attacks the words loaded with the most emotional weight in that specific moment. He's not tripping on the syllables. He's tripping on what the word means to him, his child.
That I'm a teenager who.
And his hands are still frozen. He's working to compose himself. And then something shifts. Watch his left hand as he starts talking about the team.
And I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
The illustrator gesture returns. First the left hand, then both hands rising together on I would trust my child's life in their hands. He has found solid ground, a statement that he believes completely, and his body follows. The voice is still slightly unsteady, but the gestures are back. This is reconsolidation. The emotional override is releasing. He is landing back in his own delivery.
That I would trust my child's life in their hands.
And the moment that clip ends, he swallows. Not a casual swallow, a deliberate, visible one. That is an emotional release marker. The body has been holding tension through the entire sequence, and the act of making that statement about his child, about his trust, creates a small physiological exhale. The pressure drops just enough for the system to let go. Then Besant returns to the Japan topic, and this is where the most subtle detail of the entire clip appears. Pay attention to his head movement this time.
A little more time than Westerners would have liked. But the things that they've done to restructure the economy, restructure the investment environment in terms of the bringing up shareholders' rights.
He is back in analytical mode, fluent, precise, the economic framework fully intact. But notice the head. Before the Situation Room, he was nodding. Now he's gently shaking his head. The content is positive, but the head movement is negative. That is an incongruent cluster, a mismatch between what the words signal and what the body is saying. Something in his processing has not fully reset. And now for the detail that is frankly remarkable. I tracked his blinking rate before and after the interruption. Virtually identical. Blink rate is one of the first signals to spike under acute stress. The autonomic nervous system can barely contain it. Besant held it steady, and that is an extraordinary level of physiological discipline. But his voice gave him away completely. And this is what makes this clip generally instructive. You can train your face, you can train your hands. Elite communicators do it every day, and Besant is living proof of how far that training can take you. But vocal tremor under acute emotional load is one of the last signals you learn to suppress, if you ever do. Under high stress, the muscles around the larynx tighten. Breathing becomes shallower and pitch stability suffers. The voice is the canary in the coal mine. What Besant showed us is that extraordinary self-discipline can hold most of the body together, but when a man who has spoken in front of heads of a state can't get through the word teenager, you know what kind of weight he carried out of that room. Let me know what you think about this in the...
Okay. So people are asking, when was this and what was happening during that time? So this was Friday morning. The night before is when there were reports that Iran shot one ballistic missile towards the NATO base in Turkey that housed 50 nuclear warheads. Okay. So I think that's really important. It's also the day, I believe, that in the Situation Room, they got an intelligence briefing on sleeper cells inside the United States of America, because the day before is when Pam Bondi was moved to military housing. So when you start to think about Scott Besant, teenager, he's thinking about his family and the impact that this could have on his family of the decisions that have been made.
And I agree with you there. Let me tell you what my interpretation is, and people can trust my credentials or not if they want. And because I've done this when we've had to interview high profile people, establish baselines, and that's why he did a good job of articulating. Here's what I think Scott was doing there. He knew, and like you said, who knows how long they were communicating before the cameras went on. The guy said, "Hey, I'm gonna ask you, are you good with me asking you a question about what went on?" Speculating that probably happened because I think they are professionals. And Scott was like, "Yeah, just go ahead and ask me." Well, he can't tell you everything. So how does he communicate to you to deliver a message without being able to tell you what that message was? And I think, and I think this is where the guy, he did recognize something. He brought in something that there's an emotional tie to, because Scott knew that this emotional tie would help him communicate this message to the audience, to the listener. My son. So right away that connection, my teenager in this case, right? That's his son. People know a father. How much does a father love his teenage son? If something happens and my son was in these guys' hands, that's how much I trust these guys. The message that I think Scott was delivering, and I think it goes to what you're saying here, is there's probably gonna be something really bad that's about to happen. And I trust my president, the Secretary of War, and these other guys so much that if my son goes into the military, I know these guys are good. I think what Scott was communicating here was not him being distraught. It was him trying to deliver a message without betraying the classified intel that he was given. That's kind of what I pick up from that. And because I think he was probably given some concerning news, and he knows that when people start to realize this concerning news that's going on, people are probably going to freak out or get scared. You know what I mean? And he was trying to find a way to communicate as best he could, and, leveraging his relationship to let everybody know this is how much I trust my president and the War Department when shit hits the fan. Like, this is my position. That's my interpretation. I could be wrong. That's just my interpretation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he got some type of briefing that scared the bejesus out of him. I think that on his mind was his family when he walked in there, emotional. But I also agree with the interpreter and yourself that he fully trusts President Trump, the U.S. military, the Joint Chiefs, and the Secretary of Defense to do what needs to be done.
So someone in the chat says, "You assume he's talking about us?" Yes, he could be talking about his daughter. Okay, I teenager, his child, son or daughter. The love is still the same. So just want to put it there. I also want to comment something somebody said, and I want you to jump in on this too, Josh.
Oh yeah, well, hold on. Also, the airports in DC were shut down on Friday, and this is something I covered in my show, that we could had a potential dirty nuke threat or something like that.
And I was gonna give the person the credit, but it went too fast in the chat. Somebody said the draft. There's no draft coming, folks.
No.
There's. Let me tell you right now. Clip this. If you think you're gonna throw it in my face later, clip this. There's not even a remote chance of a draft coming at all. You want Alpha? Give us a percentage on what likelihood of the draft coming is there. Here's the percentage: 0.00000000001
for the Middle East.
For the middle, yeah, for where we're at right now. Who knows what's down the future? But even then, I would argue, and here's why. That is not blind statement. The Army hit its recruiting numbers for 61,000 new recruits 4 months early.
Yeah,
they're recruiting offices with wait lists. They're 50% beyond the point that they were last year at this same time. There is zero issues when it comes to recruitment right now in the United States military. On top of that, within the Republican side, there's between 86 and 92% support for what Trump's doing right now.
Yeah,
I'm telling you guys, zero chance of a draft coming. Anybody telling you that is retarded. Even if they're my friend, they're retarded.
Well,
just say.
Well, and I agree you 100% on that. And as we've discussed, and as I've been saying in my own shows, I don't think we're going to see troops on the ground. Yeah, we got a MU headed out there, Marine Corps Expeditionary Unit headed out there, 2,500 Marines, and I think that's for Karash Island if they decide to take it. So Donald Trump said he had objectives. And when you're looking militarily at certain things, what you do is you draw a baseline. So you kind of say, okay, this is the minimum of what we're going to do. And then if they don't align with what we're trying to do by this point, then these are the other things that we're going to do. And if they haven't come to the table yet, then we're going to go to this point. And so there's various different phases of objectives that they will continue to do until they find the ideal situation where the Iranians are waving the white flag, they come in and they're ready to capitulate. And so the other night, Thursday night, is when they launched this ballistic missile towards Turkey, and which housed 50 U.S. nuclear warheads. Now, do I think that was Iran that launched that? No, absolutely not. No. Listen, if Iran was going to launch a missile at a base in Turkey to try to hit U.S. nuclear missile stockpiles, they would have shot 6 ballistic missiles with 1 hypersonic missile dragging behind about 45 seconds. Why? Because those ballistic missiles would have came down at all at the same time and engaged the air defense systems, and the hypersonic would have went in and hit its target directly, because that's exactly what they did in the 12-day war with Israel. And by the way, we have seen zero Iranian hypersonic missiles. I think they were all destroyed, but that's just my thought. So that's the same night at 12:30 that Donald Trump put out that post. Basically, Iran, you just screwed up this time. Tomorrow, you're going to get hit bad. And that was Kharg Island. And we went in there and we took out every single piece of military asset that Iran had on Kharg Island, which means that it's wide open. And then people are like saying, hey, it looks like we're going to invade Kharg Island. And then you get people like Scott Ritter like, do you understand geography? You can't get through the Straits of Hormuz. I'm like, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, we could drop Marines right there. We could, take a freaking cruise ship over for all we care. You can parachute in the 82nd. I mean, there's 1,001 ways the U.S. military can get on that island. The question is if the U.S. military got on that island, can they hold it? Because immediately when they did, Iran's going to deploy ground troops. But you know what the problem with that is? Iran don't have a navy to get to the island. So they would hit it with ballistic missiles and probably ruin it themselves, right?
That's what I said. I think that's the hesitation, is they understand that Iran can't deploy their troops onto the island. So if we deploy our guys and take it over, then they're just going to try to destroy the whole damn island.
Correct. And I agree with that. And that's the last thing that anybody wants. But here's the thing. Is Donald Trump's next step in this strategy of getting Iran to capitulate is taking out energy infrastructure, taking out the northern dam in northern Iran that feeds water to all of Iran, or taking out the oil infrastructure? Because that does one thing. Once you start taking out critical infrastructure, their oil, their economy is done. The IRGC is done. The people are going to revolt at some point in time. Same thing with electricity and water. And so these are the next steps that Trump is going to take. Then you saw today, did you see the F-18 flying around Iran?
I did not. But before you go into that, I want to add some stuff to this island.
Sure.
So I saw a lot of, the pro-jihadi folks that are out there that are like, that bunker is under 200 meters of granite, and, our biggest bunker busters, and they're doing all this math, right? Like, America just can't get to that bunker. Well, here's the thing. You also can't fire through it either. So if you're telling me that there's a warhead in that bunker, then that means you have to put it into a silo. And if you're putting it into a silo to launch, there's no silo door that's 200 feet of concrete, which means there's a vulnerability, which means if there is no silos to launch from there, then all you've described is a tombstone, because that missile has to come out of there. So if you want to say we can't reach it, I'm okay with that, because that means they can't launch it. And at the end of the day, guess what we can affect? We can affect the water going in there, the food going in there, the oxygen going in there. We can turn it into a tomb, because that's the same argument for this island. So here's my speculation on this island. I think there is a strong likelihood that we deploy troops there. And I think it is a quick battle because of the risk assessment that we talked about. They know that that Iran, the IRGC, will start to drop bombs on it. I think it's a go in there.
So
obliterate the threat and then immediately pull the guys out and just let it be a barren desert island until shit gets secured. And I think at the same time we attack, because they have ports that are underwater to get some of these mine subs out. I think you see that island taken out. And I think you see those sub ports taken out. And I think you see us bounce out.
So, in one of the reasons why I think Trump will go in there is the last objective that Trump wants to meet is the removal of all 60% refined uranium from Iran. Now, understanding that they just hit every single military target on Kharg Island, where do you think that uranium is? That uranium is sitting right by their entire oil infrastructure, because anybody knows that if you bomb that oil and take out that energy infrastructure, it's going to take 25 years to rebuild. And why is that a problem? Because it disrupts the Strait of Hormuz. It disrupts the oil supply in the world. It drives up oil prices for an undetermined amount of time. It's basically economic energy suicide globally if you did that. And Iran knows that, and Trump knows that. Hence why I believe that they would actually send in Marine Expeditionary Unit to the island to penetrate, to get the CBR team, right? Send them in there to actually get the uranium and pull that out. Now, interestingly enough, we talked about this last week. This was today. U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet over the Iranian port city of Chabahar. Now, why is that important? This is the transition from standoff to stand-in munitions. Air supremacy, or even possibly superiority or even supremacy has been achieved, and now expect more precision strikes and greater amount of strikes over time. This also signifies that the U.S. is stepping away from long-range expensive missiles, so much for the theories that Iran would bankrupt the Department of War. And this is important. We have air superiority or air supremacy, however you want to wear it. Supremacy just means that there's zero threat to our aircraft in the air. So superiority means that we control the air. We own the air. And right now with an F-18 going over the port city, we own the air, which means that you're going to see A-10s, you're going to see F-18s, F-16s flying in there doing bombing missions, which they can do thousands of them a day at the cost of these Tomahawk missiles. So it changes the way of how the military operates. Now we can hit more strategic precision strikes more times per day. The moment that we know that they're loading up a ballistic missile launcher, boom, we can hit them. But also this brings in the context for Kharg Island, because now you have direct air support that can support that mission. So I think that we're about to take a turn. You know, we have a Delta for this week. Delta for this boom, boom, boom next week. So who knows what happens next week, but also the Delta that we have.
To set that one up, then let's plug in the Delta for the day, because there's only one for today.
March
And
Madness.
I think it feeds into what you're talking about here. 3093. Actually, hold on. Give me one second. Actually, no, we can go with this one. Give me 1 second. So here's the one from today that I wanted to talk about. So 3093, can you see that, or you want me to make it bigger?
You can scroll down a little bit.
Okay. So it's lengthy because of the picture, and then it has the picture again. But you have the watch right there. Little hand coming up on the 4, big hand just passing the 8. The clock is ticking. If we are merely a so-called conspiracy, fake news narrative, why the daily attacks by the biggest media companies in the world attempt to control You're the News Now? Then we go into marker 1 complete. Then we get the watch now with, this would be what, 314, almost hitting 315, March 15th, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get, will POTUS be at CD tomorrow? 1 year Delta, matters of national security. The clock is ticking. Follow the watch. On March 15th, 315. And so I wanted to get your take on that one, given what you just said, and then I'll bring up the other ones.
So, well, number 1 is it's the Ides of March. Number 2 is there's another Delta I think that is relevant for this. That had a lot of context back in 2018. I think that there was certain investigations that were announced in and around that time. But this is what I always go to. March Madness. The public will know soon. Right on the Ides of March. And I think that this is where we begin this journey, is that a lot of people out there are talking about the expanded war, right? Iran, ground troops, World War III, and Russia and China are collaborating, right? And Trump even called out China tonight and said that you need to step up to the table and end this war and get the Strait of Hormuz opened. And yeah, I know there's been inklings that the Russia and China have been helping Iran. If Russia and China were helping Iran, why did Donald Trump just relieve the majority of oil sanctions on Russia to help the global oil supply? Why is Donald Trump teaming up with them to bring them into Arctic exploration? Why is Donald Trump calling for China to step in the negotiations and open up the Strait of Hormuz if they are actively helping militarily Iran? Pete Hegseth didn't even really comment too much on this. You know what this tells me? Is that we have a kind of bifurcated situation here. Is number one is what everybody in the public is being feeded is this is going to go to a long, drawn-out war, destabilization in the Middle East, the talk of tactical nukes by Israel in Iran. Israel's readying 400,000 ground troops. Trump is going to send, 30,000 troops in there. He wants NATO to come and defend Israel and go into Iran, all of this stuff, right? That's one bifurcation. The other bifurcation is, what did Donald Trump say? The war is over. We won. A few more objectives, and that's it. Listen to the man. He's telling you what's going to happen. Remember the 12-day war when he went in there, precision strike, 3 targets, boom, boom, boom. War was over. Israel had nothing to complain about. Ballistic missiles, nuclear weapons, and now he's going to finish the job again. Because once he goes in and grabs that uranium, it's over. There's no more. Israel can't sit there and say they're weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Well, no, they're not. We got all their uranium, so they're not getting a nuclear weapon. You got to remember, where did that uranium come from? It came from Russia. How did they get it from Russia? Because Hillary Clinton sold it, released it from U.S. custody to Russia from Uranium One, a Canadian company that Justin Trudeau owned called Uranium One, and then went to Rasputin over in Russia, and Rasputin actually gave it to Iran through proxy Barack Obama. So Trump is going to remove the uranium from the table. Once he removes the uranium from the table, it's game, set, match. And by the way, you've had a lot of foreign ministers from Iran coming out and saying that, we're ready to negotiate. These are our terms. We're ready to, and Trump keeps on saying, nope, we're not ready. And the reason is because the objectives are not met. The next objective is going to get I say that 10 times fast, Iranian uranium, right? Once that's done, here's the thing, and I want people to start to see this. There becomes no reason for Israel to invade Iran, to attack Iran, to bitch, complain, or whine about Iran, to promulgate the U.S. to go and strike Iran. Their ballistic missiles freaking stockpile is absolutely decimated. The 75% of their launchers are gone. The IRGC is completely decapitated and in freaking chaos. The clergy leadership is absolutely in chaos and hiding. The political leadership is running Iran, which is what Trump wanted in the first place. And then you're going to take away every idea of them ever having a nuclear weapon by taking every single piece of their uranium. In other words, the moment that objective is done, it's over. It's over. And yeah, Trump is going to control the Strait of Hormuz because that's going to be part of the negotiation. And my guess is this. Trump is going to go in there and negotiate this type of deal with Iran. Is that, yeah, you know what? We actually will help you. They want retributions, right? I think that Trump's going to go in there and say, yeah, we actually will help fund the rebuilding of Iran. No problem. But this is what we want in return. We want full leased access to the Strait of Hormuz with no Iranian intervention. Then he's going to say, in exchange for that, we're going to give you micronuclear reactors to run your power grid, but they will be managed and controlled by the United States of America. And that might even be after he bombs the shit out of their electric grid. Why? Because that's a hell of a deal for Iran. It's a hell of a deal for Donald Trump.
I think one of the funniest comments, I don't know if this person's being sarcastic. I hope they are for their own well-being. I'm trying to find where it went. Just because this one's worth giving them credit. Give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. So Lala Wawa. IRGC is just getting started. Like, the majority of the IRGC is pink mist. Like that's what the IRGC is like.
So for Iran, it is over. And listen, you don't even know if Khoja, the Ayatollah's son, is even alive. I mean, it's pretty bad there. And here's the thing: is Peshkian, the president, is running the show, and that's what me and Alpha have been saying for weeks. Is that there was political divergence between the clergy, the mullahs, the Ayatollah, and the civilian political infrastructure in Iran. And that why hasn't Israel or the United States targeted any of the civilian politicians? Zero, none. Why?
Because they want them to be in power.
Because they want them to be in power. It's not a war against them. It's a war against the holy regime.
It is going to be a change there. Just people make me laugh, dude.
I think it'll be over in a few weeks.
It is.
I bet you Delta Force, Marine. So you'll probably have Marine Raiders or Delta Force going into Karg Island, take out that uranium, go, dude, just like they did in Venezuela. Delta Force goes in, gets the uranium, pulls out, it's done.
Well, everybody was there trying to figure out, Iran. The mainstream media and all the clowns got hit with this doozy. Cuba's been in negotiations with Trump. People, wait, what? We're trying to figure out what's going on with Iran. What do you mean this is what's going on over here? Dude, Trump is such a strategic mastermind, bro.
Yeah, Rubio the whole time has been in Cuba. Well, Cuba is on fire because their people are rising up. Oh, good job, CIA. I know that they did that. To the point where their government has capitulated and said, what do you want?
How do we make this work?
Yep.
Listen, all right, America, in 2028, y'all gonna be drinking Cuban cigars and drinking mojitos over here. Like, how do we remedy this? Now, here's something that's interesting.
Cuba will be like Puerto Rico.
Here's something that's interesting. And listen, Cuba is not my expertise. So I'm going to make this statement kind of given on some of the things we know, Operation Gladio, that I've done, at length with Colonel Towner. But we know everybody that we've been told, well, I won't say everybody. We know a large portion of the people that we've been told are bad weren't bad. They didn't want to go along with the central bankers. They didn't want to go along with the globalists. And so we called them communists, right? Because that's the way you deal with these people. Well, the guy that's the current president right now of Cuba, their presidente, right?
El Presidente.
El Presidente. He's not part of the Castro family. And he's the one that came out and made the statement that he did. I put up the translation video on that. But a Castro family member was behind him, right? So I told this to Ghost. I said, listen, I'm shooting from the hip here, but it'll be interesting given the patterns, right? That the current El Presidente, I wonder if he was a CIA installment to take power away from the Castro family. And his capitulation on a recorded video, because that video was not live, that was recorded. On that recorded video, him putting out the messages, they got me. And we probably see the Castro family come back into a position of power. We see this collaboration that unfolds, right, with the United States. And people are like, but wait, no, like the Castro family always got to go to prison. Like this, I'm curious to see how that unfolds out there. Because the other part, you got to remember Venezuela. What'd they say? A lot of the Cubans that were there got taken out.
Oh, yeah.
You got what's his name? Petro from Colombia that's been saying there's a Cuban problem, right? Like there's
but also who did they put in charge of Venezuela? Delcy Rodriguez, who the Rodriguez family is the one with Chavez who seized the oil and made trillions. So it's her family is like the Castro family in Cuba.
So I'm just saying, keep your work your discernment, folks, because we want to believe that people that we were told bad are always bad. It's what we want to. That's how we've been propagandized. But the way things are looking is why are we getting help from people that were Putin. We were told the dude wants to nuke us, and who do you think's helping us with Iran? You know, not the CCP, but Xi. Who's the one president's going to go meet with in what's it, 2 weeks? Two and a half weeks?
That's Xi. That's Xi. And interesting enough on that point is Donald Trump tonight. He called for Xi Jinping to actually intervene in Iran. So, well, there's a few things that we should talk about. Man, I guess I did have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. But let me pull that up here in a second. I want to grab this post. There it is. Okay. Trump said he would delay his planned summit with China's Xi Jinping if Beijing didn't help unblock the Strait of Hormuz, according to the Financial Times. That's really critically important. Trump is calling for China to engage Iran. Not only that, is what did Putin say last week? Hey, we are in communication with Iran. We're here to help. What did we say last week? Russia and China will help to negotiate the end of this war. Well, that'd be really interesting, wouldn't it?
It would, because maybe we're just good at guessing, bro. Maybe that's what it is. Somebody sent us this link. Let me drop it in the. Actually, here, I'll just bring it up. Let me see. They said it's Chuck Grassley near Cornfield. Let me see.
Well, while you're doing that, Trump today came out and talked about this in his latest interview. Trump told the world what this war is really about. Oh, I wonder what he's going to say. Forget nuclear weapon rhetoric. Nope, not about nuclear weapons. Forget regime change. Nope, not that. Forget freedom of the Iranian people. In one short interview, Trump stripped it all back to the raw truth, the Strait of Hormuz. He's threatening NATO, pressuring China, scolding Britain, and dangling the delayed G summit all over one waterway, because whoever controls the Hormuz controls the energy supply that keeps the global economy breathing. The irony is devastating. Well, not really devastating, but I want people to see that it's about the energy and the energy corridors. This is about China on a larger scope. It's about limiting and removing Britain from that global control grid. Go ahead, Lofo.
All right, here we go, just so you guys can see. This is from today, 9:07 p.m. Eastern, and it's Chuck Grassley. Proud to live on my family farm and have my son Robin and grandson Pat in our family farm operation. And I'm proud to represent the best AG state in the nation in the U.S. Senate. It's National Agriculture Week celebrate. Chuck Grassley and corn.
Yeah.
We will see. You know, today is the first day of the Ides of March, right? Or is it tomorrow? No, it's the 15th. It's today.
Yeah, it's 15th.
Yeah, it's today. So
we had Pi Day yesterday.
We did 314.
3.14159265.
The fact that you remembered it past the 4, bro. It's
3.14923. 3.143. Now I forgot it because you just said it. 3.149563. Oh shit! Now I can't remember.
3.14. That's
3.14159362.
I can do that. I can remember that. 3.1415. But then after that, I'm done. You'll get that out of me because I can remember that one. We will see. It's going to be a big week.
There's people fact checking me right now. That's not right. I know that's not right. I think I go into the chat. They're like, dude, you were wrong.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Somebody in the chat put it up. Let's see. Future objective 3.1415936.535.
Well, they're rounding though.
And G Fonta says the 5 should round up the prior into. You guys listen. Y'all can just go to sleep. I'm with Shan's Shark right there.
3.1415. Now I can't. Oh man, you guys just screwed my memory.
I'm gonna put them on the screen. This is my people right here. Where do you go?
3.1415.
Here's my people.
9265.
Here's my people. Shan Shark. 8675309.
8675309. What was her name?
Ah, hold on.
Jenny.
Yeah, there you go. Golly, man. A few more moments, and I would have had it.
At least, in all the 80s songs, just don't be Josie.
Just don't be
Josie
Joe.
was on a vacation far away. She was far away and he was about to do something dirty. So don't be Josie.
Don't be. Man, I enjoyed the way that conversation went.
Which conversation?
Ours tonight.
Yeah, it was good.
It was.
I got some more stuff to show.
Show. Well, don't go into the 17th stuff though. Because
That's not really 17 stuff. Let me ask you this.
No, because the 17th is Tuesday, right? If I do my Marine Corps math right. Yeah, Monday the 16th, 17th. Yeah. So Tuesday, because we do DEFCON, folks, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. March 17th is the Delta, and there's 17 Deltas that day. So that's pretty cool. And there's at least 2 in there that are pretty interesting. And I know everybody's tempted. We want to get into them now, but I want to make sure we just save those for Tuesday.
Okay.
See, I'm not going to say that out loud. If you look in the chat, CSUB Geochem 1 is one of my Cali guys out here. He said something funny. But no, going to the other stuff. You said you had something. Fire it up.
Well, number one is, did you notice that when this whole thing started, Iran, they burned an effigy of Baal with the Star of David on its head?
I did not know that.
Why would they attribute Baal to Israel?
I mean, I would say because they don't like them. Because they call us infidels. I mean,
No, not us, Israel.
well, when I say us, anybody that's not that doesn't go to the Islamic faith is considered an infidel. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
What verse is that?
Revelations 2:9 and then Revelations 3:9. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you.
Ooh,
3:9.
that one 3:9.
I'm just saying.
Spicy, bro.
I'm just saying. You guys know how I feel, but I'm just saying is
3:9.
those Iranians, they're trying to say something. And by the way, did you know that Iran is 60% Christian?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
And that Christians, and I know that people are going to probably like, no, they're not. Christians in Iran are treated better than Christians in Israel.
That is true.
It's very true. Now,
fact check true on both those statements. People might not like to hear it, but I mean, fact check true.
Now, here's something interesting. Dan the Man posted the other day. Do you see this one on March 13th?
You have to bring it up. Oh, yes.
There's this lot. Scavino posted that the other day. We're coming into March Madness. I'm pumped about it. But did you know that the New York Times ran this article talking about Donald J. Trump time traveler conspiracy?
The New York Times?
Yeah. Donald Trump time traveler. Let me see here.
I know there was an article.
New York Post or the New York Times? It was the New York Post or the New York Times? New York Post. So go here, bring this up. The New York Post ran this. And by the way, the New York Post is friends with Trump. Is President Trump a time traveler? Century-old sketches spark new conspiracy theories. Now look how big they made Barron in the background. Check that image out. Look how big Barron is. Look how big his head is in comparison.
Giant.
That is an altered image. Okay. I don't know why the New York Post did that. But then did you see what Scavino posted the same day?
No, show me. Well, I probably did, but let me see.
Reposted from September 18th, 2025.
Oh, yeah. I saw like you reposted this one too, so I did see this.
1985.
So I don't know. I think we're coming into some very weird times. And what people think is going to happen, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be World War III. I don't think Israel is going to wage a holy conflict against Iran to the end of the earth. I don't think Iran is going to wage holy vengeance against the U.S. and against Israel. I think that this shit's going to be over in about 2 to 3 weeks. I think that after that's over, Cuba is already going to be settled and probably becoming a U.S. territory. And I think that we'll be deep inside Central America, Latin America, and Mexico, figuring all that shit out with control over the Strait of Hormuz and all of Chinese oil supply. Because by that time, I think Russia is going to have some type of new trade deal with the United States of America and have sanctions completely released. And the Ukraine war will be just about done. Because when was the last time you heard anything about Ukraine?
You left out 2 ports in there, so I'm with you on all that. Don't forget Greenland, and don't forget the tip of South America.
Well, true. I'm not forgetting that. I'm just saying the next few weeks. And by the way, Ukraine, did you see that Ukraine came out and said that they wanted to help the United States, and then Trump was asked about it in his briefing, and they're like, hey, I heard President Zelensky wants to help you guys with Jones. He's like, why the hell would we need help from them? I don't want help from him.
He's like, he's not even in a position to do anything.
He can't win a war that he's fighting. Why do I want help from him?
Oh, it's going to be good times. It's absolutely going to be.
Did you see this shit? This is some cool news. This is kind of funny. So I believe that this was in Macau, which is like a China province. Okay. And I said this has got to be AI, but the mainstream media is reporting on it, so I'm assuming it's not AI. A robot, humanoid robot, harassed. And gets arrested.
Way, bro. There's no way.
It goes out there and begins harassing people on the streets and then gets arrested. What I think it was kind of remote controlled and someone was probably speaking through it, going out and harassing them, and then the cops came. It was Macau's casino, yeah.
It's just
but I do have when we do end the show tonight, I do have a song, and I want to put this dude out there because he makes amazing music, and I guess on his TikTok, he's got a pretty big TikTok, but he heard that I put him out there on X because the post, I mean, it's got over 100 and something thousand views, so he came out and thanked me for it. And I sent him a message, and I want to send people to go follow this guy. And after you hear his voice, you're going to absolutely want to follow this guy. So
dang, you got me excited, man.
Yeah. But so I'll put him out right now so everybody can see this. But I want you to go follow this guy on X. His name is John Lind. And John on X is John Lind Music X. And I'll pull this up for you. Okay. Over here, John Lind Music X on X. He's got a great TikTok account, and I want everybody to go follow him on X at right there, John Lind Music. Okay,
dude. And if he's in Nashville, you should tell him that we'll connect. Go have a beer or something.
Oh, good call. Now, the one thing that he did is, and you can see when we got 122,000 views on this video. Is you know that Adele song, Something Like You? Let's listen to the first part.
You know that song that goes like, never mind, I'm fine.
Oh yeah.
Like you.
Because what if it was a Christian song? You're gonna love it. So when we're ready,
all right.
He takes all of these popular songs and he redoes them as Christian songs.
Really?
Yeah, and this one just got me. This one got me. So,
oh man,
I'm telling you, you guys need to go follow him. And his TikTok is John Lind Music, JONLIND MUSIC, and let him know that Josh and Alpha sent you.
That's cool. I want to throw in some challenges. Be like, hey, can you do this one? You know what I mean? But what a cool move. Well, then let me do this. Let me get let's do our ad. And then when we come back from this, we'll get into Rumble rants. Because I think I saw a couple in there. And here we go. One of the funniest ads ever. We'll be back.
Legend says, on St. Patrick's Day, a beard without oil is just a chin with ambition. But a beard with soft disclosure beard oil, that's true treasure. Spiced vanilla, naked, smooth as a leprechaun's getaway plan. Soft enough to impress your barber, bold enough to confuse a baby goat. And this boar bristle brush tames your beard like it holds the crown coin. Every bottle is American made, which means when you buy Soft Disclosure, you're supporting 6 American small businesses. That's not luck, that's capitalism with cheekbones. And while you're at it, try our mint green deodorant, because even legends need fresh pits. Soft Disclosure, go for gold. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code TINYBRIGHT for 15% off.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts. That's still, dude, AI. AI is not to be messed with. All right, folks, let me bring on the Rumble rants. And then we will hear this great song that I'm excited for. There we go. So, like Kim K, start from the bottom. Now we're here. $5 from Ms. Rhea, Freedom Fighter. Alpha, I will teach you how to stretch. I will take all the help. Anything you guys want to send me, send it. I definitely need to make myself an expert in stretching. It is my fault. I go hard on the weights. I go beast mode. I'm like, I'm going to throw iron around, and I should know better. I really should bring stretching in. So yes, I would definitely appreciate that, Miss Rhea, Freedom Fighter. $10 from Flying Storm. Can anybody crack James Comey's Calm's lyrics, Sandcastle lyrics, Drift Away? And here's the Substack link. Well, I will take that link.
Yeah, we're going to look at that DEF CON on Tuesday night.
Yes, so let me save it here. I'm going to drop it in the private chat so we don't lose it real quick. All right, so that is saved. Thank you for that, Flying Storm. Let's see. Josh Nalba, do a live comms on James Comey. Can anybody crack? All right, that's the one you told us right here. All right, so we'll bust that out. Or is that a different one? Nope, same one. I want to make sure the numbers are the same. Thank you for that, Flying. $20 coming in from Jay McLean. I am sad about Brad and Abby, but I will always love Badlands. By the way, where do I get glutathione? Josh.
You can get glutathione just about anywhere. I mean, it's there's one on, so there's two of them that I use on Amazon that you can get on Amazon that are fantastic. One is a glutathione patch, and glutathione, let me do this real quick. And there's one that comes in, so there's Element, ELMNT. It's a black plastic jar. It's liposomal glutathione. That is probably the best, hands down. Then there's another one, which is a patch. And that you put on, very similar to LifeWave. But that's Patch MD glutathione. Those are awesome as well. And I also, if you're going to do that, get the NAD plus as well with that, because it helps the boost that glutathione.
And I don't know which one mine is, so I'll have to look and then I'll post it in the comments, the powdered one. $5 come from Makes Sense to Me Too. Disagreement is the foundation of progress. Yep, disagreement is absolutely important. $1 for $1 from Babbage 3. You're not streaming to YouTube. We are. Took a minute there. Can't be doing the intros over there at YouTube because they get mad. $10 from Flying Storm. Lyrics Drift Away and Lyrics Sandcastle. All right. $20 from PS Farm Girl. Isn't MAGA thinking for ourselves? I think what they're trying to teach people. Absolutely need to think for ourselves. We can never lose critical thinking, folks. I think Josh would agree with me on that. $17 from the Tone Ranger. Time again to deploy deltas and discombobulators and to get that uranium. There you go. I did it. First time flawless. I'm quite proud of myself. I feel like I just Just want to end the show right
You did
there.
a big word, discombobulator is like no problem.
Dude,
Ash would be proud.
there's like 3 of them. I just and nailed it right there. Show's over, folks. We're gone. We'll catch you next. You gotta want to ruin it.
Mic drop.
$20 from Josie Flanagan. Appreciate you both. Great show. Thank you for that, Josie. $17 coming in from Rhea Freedom Fighter. Just Alpha tomorrow night? You better. I freaking love that show. Yes, we will. Definitely. It's going to be a good one too. I'm going to go into that lion that Josh showed us tonight. Well, that's going to be one of the focal points tomorrow. $17 from Shortcake 45. Have you seen the movie Blink Twice? It's so what many victims experience throughout this crap, in my opinion. So disturbing. Love you, brothers in Christ. I've never seen that. I've never even heard of that. So Blink Twice. I'll have to go to the devil's YouTube or Google and figure out what that was. $20 from Rory McGill 78. We not doing questions from the chat anymore. I guess we can do that. It's been a while since we did that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll bring that back up on Q after.
You know what we're gonna actually do? We're gonna take phone calls live.
Cat's out of the bag. Cat is out of the bag.
We'll take phone calls live. Next Sunday, join us on Q After Hours, where we're going to take your phone calls. Phone number we posted before the show. Make sure you get in line, call in, get on with Josh and Alpha, and we will answer your questions or just act confused.
The number will be pinned in the comments before the show goes live. We'll have it scrolling on the screen too, but if you guys want to prep. And 2, just remember when you call, right? There's a little bit of a delay when you answer, so don't think we didn't answer. So if you're on there and you're like hello, give it about a second and a half. Don't hang up, and it'll work. I think they might have worked that out already, but just in case they didn't, don't hang up if you feel like your call got picked up. But yeah, look for that next week. So with that, anything you want to let the audience know that you got coming up this week, and then we'll get to that video that you have for us.
Well, I don't know when he's going to post it, but I'll be joining General Quast this week. So I'm excited about that. And what else? I just got my regular shows, so gonna be a good time. Just gonna be a regular normal week, but I think there's gonna be a lot more going on in that. I think it's gonna be a big news week. So let's pay attention.
And we did get some YouTube super chats. So let me give these people some love. John Carew, $5 over there. So thank you for that. And Suitcase to you, $2. What's going on within Tucker? I don't know what's going on in Tucker's mind. I'll tell you this: if you guys have never seen the interview, when I was told about this, I was like, nah, that's a baloney. So I went and researched it, and it's true. It was a legitimate interview. Tucker does this interview where he talks about contacting a demon, like a demon creeps on him in his cabin. Left them scratches and everything. Like I was like, no, but it's a legitimate interview. It's interesting. I don't think he's weird for it. It was kind of odd, but his behavior recently, I'm thinking, well, did the demon go away?
It was Bibi Netanyahu just wanting to talk.
That's all that was. And then we had a last minute Rumble rant coming in from $1 for $1, Rory McGill 78. That's cool, guys. I like that. Thank you. And of course, so with that, Josh, when there's solid folks, smash. Actually, no, we do have one more thing. Let me bring this up. Almost freaking.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. Folks, don't forget. Nashville, Tennessee. Get your virtual tickets. Get your regular tickets. You don't want to miss out on this. So again, if you guys have already experienced it, talk amongst each other, influence all your friends to get them to go out there. So with that, now we're done and we're ready for the song.
All right, guys. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. See you next time. Oops, wrong way.
You know that song that goes like, never mind, I'll find someone like you. Well, what if it was a Christian song?
I heard that you sent your son and you let him die on cursed tree. I heard that we with his final breath, he conquered sin and shame for you and me. And I'll never be the same, I'm changed and I can hide it. There's a seat at your table and you say I'm invited. All I have to do is just reach out and grab it. Thanks to you, my life isn't over. Never thought I'd find someone like you who could take this wretched heart and make it whole. Lord, I need you every day until I finally get to hear you say, well done, my good and faithful son. Well done, my good and faithful son. Well done, my good and faithful son.